Did you ever hear about the Skittles spill?
Skittles.
Skittles.
No.
Yes.
Taste
Skittles,
the rainbow.
The candy.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
4 or 5 years
fucking
ago,
way.
I might have read this. There was a spill of Skittles in, I believe it was southwestern Wisconsin. Don't quote me on that. All over the highway in winter, and they're like, "What are you? What happened? Like, why are you hauling Skittles?" Well, I'm bringing them to a dairy. We feed it to cows. It's
No.
yeah, it's a cheap source of
They're feeding the cows.
Skittles. The rejected Skittles, so they're misshapen. You know, they're not the perfectly round ones.
Really?
So these are the byproduct of Skittles Corporation, and they're feeding it to cows.
To cows, and then we eat their dairy
The
product.
spin they put on it was, well, we're being environmentally friendly because we're not filling up our landfill with old Skittles, with bad Skittles. That's what they said. And you're just
Did this fly? Like this just we were just cool with this?
it's so bizarre. It's almost like, am I reading The Onion?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is just bizarre when you start to think about. So cows eat grass,
Not Skittles.
not
typically.
Skittles or silage or corn, but
Yeah.
that's what they get fed. They eat grass, and that's why when you go to an expensive restaurant now, it says, you know,
Grass-fed.
grass fed.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's, you know, what is happening. So when I read that, I was like, this something is just wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it had to like blow up on the highway, like we had to find out because it fell out on the highway,
Yeah,
or else they would have even have said anything.
yeah.
That's wild, man.
It
And
is.
Aren't Skittles? This might be a myth, but I thought Skittles or Sweet Tarts, one of those two, is like a couple molecules away from being plastic. It's like borderline plastic, and I love Skittles. Don't get me wrong, but like that's crazy.
Yeah.
We're feeding them basically plastic, colored plastic.
Yeah, I mean they'll come up with a reason for everything, and you know, I mean, again, it's a big industry, and you know, size matters.
Yeah.
That really impacts their bottom line. So, it's just the more and more you find out about it, the more and more you go like, why does it have to be this way?
Yeah.
You know, why is the city of Toledo suing the EPA right now? So 10, 12 years ago, the city of Toledo had to shut down its intakes out of Lake Erie because it's a shallower lake, and it was just choked with toxic green algae, kind of similar to the cryptosporidium thing that happened in Milwaukee. But so they had to shut down their intake pipes for like days. So people didn't have a source of water for days. And now what they do is they monitor that with satellite imagery so that when these toxic algae blooms get near their intake pipes, they shut them down, and then they have a backup water supply. So the city of Toledo has spent millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to try to upgrade all their systems for their water treatment plant.
Yeah.
Yet the EPA really hasn't enforced, you know, a lot of regulation on large industrial CAFOs that surround Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this, not all of it, but a lot of it is cow shit.
Yeah.
And again, not all of it.
If you're having to shut down a lake, man, or shut down our in-pipe, people can't have water in the United States of America, you know?
Mhm.
That's a problem. Can we draw the, like, I feel like pretty much everybody in the country, unless you are the owner of a CAFO, is going to agree that maybe we should do something.
You'd think so.
You know? It's just a matter of, that's what, like, when we started talking about this the other day, and that's what kind of spawned this, that's where it was like, it's sort of, you just not knowing is the only reason you would be, you know, okay with it happening.
Right.
You know, but
Right.
once you know, and that's what too, I think we talked, and we can get to this, is a little bit about some lakes, like, are being deemed like, after a certain point in the summer, that like because of this algae, right, that people can't be swimming in them. People can't be going and hanging out at the beach because the lake isn't really even safe to be swimming in.
Yeah, there's a lot of impaired waters in Wisconsin. I think there's over 400 now. That changes.
Yeah.
You know, weather has a lot to do with that. Rainfall, runoff, aquifer.
What is an impaired water for?
Just the water that is impaired beyond, you know, safety standards.
Okay.
So, for instance, and you know, you can call this a coincidence or not, but when I was a kid in Adams County, we would go swimming at Lake Petenwell, which is part of the Wisconsin River, or Lake Arrowhead, or Lake Russia Cree. As soon as in the 90s, when the CAFOs started coming in, we started seeing more and more of this toxic green algae shutting down our beaches. And if you've ever seen it, it looks like pea soup.
Mm.
And again, this isn't all just CAFOs.
Yeah. There's other
This
factors
is people
that play into
fertilizing
it.
their lawn and
Roundup and-
maybe leaky septic tanks. Maybe it's maybe it's industrial. From the paper mill. There's a lot of things that contribute to it. But in a shallow impoundment, when I was a kid, we never had this issue.
Yeah.
And it didn't start happening until the 90s. And all of a sudden, we're like, what do you mean we can't go to the beach?
Yeah.
Because by August it's shut down. It's pretty grim.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen on all waters. Again, it's very, very impacted by weather. But you've seen beach closings, and whether it's E. coli or it's some other environmental thing that has happened.
Yeah.
I will say though that a lot of the lakes that I've encountered were definitely impacted by this, and it's not going away.
Yeah,
Because
that's
there
the
is
thing,
no
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
There is no away.
Yeah.
Water doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It's non-compressible.
Thanks for watching that last video, guys. Click right over here to see the episode in its entirety. Or click over here to subscribe and check out all the other cool shit we have on the channel. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do it.